Now, up next, The Times with a story that is dividing opinion around the world. It's game, set and match for Djokovic. Sajeela, you serve first.
I'm so tired of the story.
He's
He's now gone back. He's been deported. And, I don't have much sympathy for someone who's, quite well off. And I kind of feel like this story is hiding the story behind, where he's staying in a hotel. Is it Park Lane Hotel? Was it? Can't remember the Park Hotel.
Yeah. And I don't think it's quite. I think it's
It's not the Park Lane.
It's not exactly the Dorchester,
no,
is it?
No,
it wasn't a nice hotel.
Yeah, it's not the nice hotel. It's not Park Lane in London, which is really nice. But there's he's sharing it with refugees who've been there for up to 9 years, like waiting to be processed, and so. Him being in there, it kind of slightly highlighted, and they were grateful that his kind of plight highlighted theirs, but now they're feeling like upset because he's left, and they're really pleased for him. It's really lovely because they're all been like cheering him on and saying, that...
But he doesn't get to play, though.
He doesn't get to play, but I can't have any sympathy with that. I'm sorry, because the rules are the rules. Have you not watched Border Control?
But the thing is, he did ask in advance and say, can I come? And they said yes, and they approved it. And then he got there and suddenly everything changed. I don't think that's fair.
But then they did say that if you haven't been vaccinated, you can't enter the country. Now, every country's got their own rules and regulations. We've got our own.
But then he claimed an exemption that was approved. I mean, it feels like it became very political.
Maybe it did, but the thing is, I think he'll survive. I feel this story's been dragged out, and I would have liked to see the column inches more on the plight of the refugees that have been ill-treated there, and that's more of a human rights issue. And to say that he was tortured, which I've also,
Really?
Yeah, some of the officials said, oh, no, he was like, he was stuck in there for 10 days, blah, blah. He was not. He's still getting a better deal than some of the refugees in that hotel. So that's my kind of feeling on it.
I would agree with Sajeela. I'd agree with you that the treatment of refugees in Australia, they've got a terrible track record. There are issues there, but I think there's a separate, more frightening issue relating to Djokovic, which is that the precedent that this establishes. Because the Alex Hawke, who was the immigration minister, he filed documents to the court explaining his reasons for why the visa was cancelled. The reasons he gave, right? So he said he accepts that there's no health risk with Djokovic. Djokovic does not pose a health risk because he recently had COVID. So even the immigration minister knows that to be the case. And the reasons he gave was to do with the potential for civil unrest and the potential for increase in anti-vax sentiment. In other words, Djokovic's opinions are what has caused the visa to be cancelled. Now, look, irrespective of what we think about those opinions, if you set a legal precedent whereby you can be booted out of the country for your opinions, that can be used in ways that we probably won't even predict. And I worry about that aspect of this story. I care less about the individual situation with Djokovic.
I agree with that, but what I also have a problem with is the fact that if you've said, no vaccine, and he is then given that permission to stay, what is that message sending out? Because that's the same thing we've got in our country where, those in power are doing one thing and then...
I get that. So different rules for different...
Yeah.
I get the objection there.
Yeah.
But I just think... I worry about the precedent. But also I worry because, as Mark said, the fact that he asked for the exemption and got it, and then it changed, that just seems very, very... And also, by the way, if you're seriously worried about anti-vax sentiment, because he is a bit of a poster boy now for the anti-vax movement, if you won't worry about anti-vax sentiment, making him a martyr... Right? That's the worst thing you can do.